Table scan rows gotten. What an interesting statistic this turned out to be. And rather than go into elaborate slides, I thought we'd go straight into a demo and walk through it, because this one I found really quite interesting. Let's get straight into the demo. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do all this demo as Scott, a nice, simple, small user. And I want Scott to be able to query some of the $V tables. So I'm just being lazy here. Don't do this on your normal systems. I'm just saying, rather than list out the $V tables he needs, we'll just go select it in a dictionary and give him the lot. So word of warning, this is not best practice. This is office hours convenience for me. So I'm going to connect to Scott Tiger. I'm going to create a table called T, and it's, what do we get? It's 10 copies of all objects. And because Scott can't see the entire set of objects in the database, it turns out that Scott can see about 60,000 objects, therefore times it by 10, and we have 661,000 rows, give or take, in that table. Now I'm going to reconnect to flush out all the session level statistics. They'll be reset to 0 such that we have a brand new session. And then I'm going to do a real simple query. Now, before I even run it, I'll point out there, I'm using a thing called set feedback only. That's a 12.2 feature and above of SQL+, which is nice. Set feedback only says run the query, fetch the rows, but don't actually paint them on the screen. So we won't see ridiculous scrolling and the like. I've got select star from T. I haven't actually run it yet. Let's run it with a /. It chugs away. As you can imagine, we went and received 661,000 rows. And then I go query $MyStat, which is the session level stats for the particular stat called table scan rows gotten. Now you're probably thinking, that is the most least impressive result I've ever seen. There's no index in the table. We did a table scan. There were 661,000 rows in the table. And hey presto, you got 661,000 rows back on the statistic. Thanks for boring me to tears just before Christmas, Connor. But bear with me. So that was select star from T, and the table scan rows gotten equals the number of rows in the table. Let's now do something slightly different. I'm listing all the columns individually from T. So it's pretty much the same as select star. Let's run that. And surprise, surprise, once again, now you're getting ready to leave the call. Yes, the number of rows in the table equals the number of table scan rows we did. So far, so good. Let's now make a tiny, tiny modification. I'm selecting all the columns, and I'm also collecting one extra piece of information, the letter X, just the string X from T. Let's now run it again. This is the drum roll part. Okay, so how many rows did we scan? There were 660,000 rows. Guess how many rows we scanned? 24 million. Now that is just plain weird. All I did was add an extra attribute. Nothing from the table, no joins, no indexes, no nothing. I just added the string X, and all of a sudden it's gone from 600,000 to 24 million. What on earth is going on? So maybe, what if I don't get all the columns? What if I actually shrink down the amount of stuff I actually want to get? So rather than getting select star or select all the columns, I'll just grab a couple of columns. That should be obviously more efficient. Let's data over the network, for example. Let's run that. And guess what? 24 million rows scans again. Isn't that odd? Here's where I say, pause here for where the 24 million came from. I'd love to say, as I saw this, I went, oh, yes, I know exactly what the problem is, what the issue is, and I'll explain it now. This took me a fair while to nut out, and I had a few conversations with people inside Oracle, and there was a lot of head scratching going on. And finally, we worked it out. And so I thought it'd be interesting to share with you here. It's pretty cool. What happens is, did I put it here? I actually put some code in so we can go through it. Let's have a look at some of the stats about this table. The key one here is it's got 666,000 rows. We know that. It's got 1,271 blocks. And the average size of a row, because it's just a little tiny table, is 11 bytes. Now, what can we do with that? So what can we do with 1,271 blocks and an average row length of 11? The number of bytes available to you in a block at 8K block size is about 8,100. That's not exact. It's near enough. It's good enough. We got a couple of RTL slots and row header and stuff, but that's give or take rough. divide that by average row length. And as you can see, we can fit about 736 rows in a block. Now, why is that significant? Here's a query which, I'll scroll back up. It says, I'm selecting row num. I'm selecting this 15 as a magic number, which I'll come back to, and 15 times the row num times the rows in the block from Joule. And I'm using this 736 divided by 15, adding 1 at the end. So this magic number is 15, and the rows in the block is 1530. It's just going up by 15 each time. Now, why would I do this? The reason I'm using a magic number of 15 is, I hope I didn't clear the screen here. No. The array size in my session is 15. So what is the meaning of these numbers? What happens is this. As I go for my first block, I hit the block and I want to read 15 rows because my array size is 15. I read 15 rows and send them back to the client. I then stop because that's what the fetch size is. The client now needs to issue another request. The client says, yes, I want the next 15 rows. I come back to that same block. I skip 15 rows and get the next 15. So I've actually scanned 30 rows to get the 15 I want. I give them back to the client. The client says, give him a third set of 15 rows. It says fetch size of 15. I'm on the same block still. I skip 30 rows, get 15, making 45 rows, and send those 15 back to the client. So given that there's 736 rows per block, I'm going to do this, if we scroll down, approximately 50 times. 50 times 15 is about 730 rows per block. So by the time I get to the 50th time that I'm scanning, asking for 15 rows, I'm actually skipping 750 rows and then getting the next 15 and giving them back. The table scan rows statistic is actually a measure of how many rows we're not just fetching, but actually skipping over or encountering on our way to actually satisfying the query. So because my array size is 15, if we actually say what's 15 times row 9 plus the skip rows from Joule divided by that, it's approximately 19,125 table scan rows for each block in the table. So if I add up all these numbers here that you can see above, and that's just for one block, the 730 rows that fit in one block, I'm actually going to get a table scan rows figure of about 19,000. Now, how many blocks were there in the table? About 1,200. 1,200 times 19,000 gives me 24 million rows. So when I scan those 1,200 blocks, and in each block there's about 700 rows to scan, and I'm doing it with a fetch size of 15, those 700 rows are done with 15 scanned rows to get me 15 rows, 30 scanned rows to get me the next 15, 45 scanned rows to get me the third 15, and so on, all the way up to the end of the block. So that's where the 24 million comes from. That's how many actual rows we encountered, not necessarily sent back to you, but encountered during the processing of this activity. One way, obviously, of improving that would be to change the array size. Rather than going back and just getting 15 and skipping 15, let's go back and get 100 at a time. As a result, because there's 700 rows in a block, we're only going to repeat our footsteps, so to speak, over that one block 7 times. So by doing it set array size of 100, I got just down to 4 million now. There's still that overlap, but it's dropped from 24 million down to 4 million. And that's the demo. So that's a key thing to remember when you're looking at the table scan rows gotten statistic. It's not actually a measure of how many rows you've encountered or how many rows you've fetched with table scans. It's a measure of how many rows that the table scan operation encountered in trying to find the information that you are asking for. So that explains the statistic. The big question is, if I can't go scroll all the way back, but what about the first demo, where when I did select star, or when I did select all the columns, I didn't see 24 million, I just saw 600,000. I had none of this information. Well, that was the cause of much of the discussion inside Oracle about why those numbers were coming out. I didn't put any slides on this one, but way back in Oracle 10, we introduced an optimization that we didn't really publish that well. It's called row shipping. And what row shipping is is rather than the database grabbing a row off the table and dividing it up into its bits and pieces and columns and sending them back to you as attributes, row shipping says, we've got the row directory in the block header. The block header says where each row starts. All we need to do is actually grab those bytes that constitute each row and just send them down to the client in effectively SQL+. As a result, we actually are doing an optimization to bypass all the concept of digging into a row, digging out the columns, bits and pieces. Now, row shipping back in Oracle 10 was turned on if you selected more than 80% of all the columns in the table and nothing else. Now, we've changed it, I think back in Oracle 11.2, we changed it to being 100%. So when I do select star, I get this row shipping optimization where I don't actually have to revisit rows to break them up into bits and pieces because I'm just using the row directory inside the block to ship the entire rows down to the client, and his job is to actually just break them out into bits and pieces. All the columns, like select star, I can do row shipping. If I list out all the columns, which is the same as select star, I can do this row shipping. If I don't list out all the columns, like I did in the example there, then I go back to the database doing all the work in breaking out the bits and pieces. Or if I do anything which is not one of the columns, like that simple expression of X, then the same thing happens. The database becomes responsible for piecing out all the bits and pieces. So there's nothing you need to do to enable this or turn it off, but it's just a cool little thing I thought that, unbeknown to me, that this was a great level of discovery that in trying to work out why a statistical value went wrong, I learned more about that statistic, but also a really cool optimization called row shipping, which has actually been there. It's turned on by default. If you do select star or select all the columns, then we'll use this row shipping optimization. That's pretty cool. I'm not sure if that would constitute a recommendation that if you need 9 out of 10 columns from a table, you're better off selecting all 10 anyway. That's perhaps for a later discussion. Obviously, you'd be impacted by maybe additional data over the network, etc. But it would be an interesting exercise at that really pointy end of performance, whether you actually might want to consider looking at doing something like selecting a couple of excessive columns or surplus columns to get the benefit of row shipping.